Thank you for choosing American Pest CEUs. Hi, I'm Sean Reeves. I'm an Associate Certified Entomologist with American Pest CEUs. I've been in the pest management industry since 1999, and I'll be your instructor for today's course. Today's course was compiled by Jack Launius, who has served in the pest management industry since 1990. Rules and Regs for WDO. Texas Administrative Code. Title 4, Agriculture. Part 1, Texas Department of Agriculture. Chapter 7, Pesticides. Subchapter H, Structural Pest Control Service. Division 5, Treatment Standards. Sections 7.172, 7.173, 7.174, 7.175, 7.176, 7.177, 7.178. In this training, we'll have Section 7.172, WDI, Post-Construction Treatments. Section 7.173, Subterranean Pre-Construction Treatments. Math for pre-treatments, borate applications, baiting, and physical barriers. Section 1.74, Wood-Destroying Insect Treatment Disclosure Documents. Proper Pre-Construction, Subterranean Termite Treatments Builder's Guide. Section 1.74, Wood-Destroying Insect Treatment Disclosure Documents. Rule 7.147, Consumer Information Sheet. Section 7.175, Official Wood-Destroying Insect Report Inspection Procedures. Section 7.176, Real Estate Transaction Inspection Reports, including NPMA 33. Section 7.177, Posting Notice of Inspection. Section 7.178, Structural Fumigation Requirements, and Math for Treatments. 7.172A. All pesticides used for post-construction termite treatments must be registered with the EPA and the department. All pesticide liquid applications must be made by using the application rates and methods and by following the precautionary statements on the labeling of the pesticide being used. All termite baiting system applications must be made using the methods and following the precautionary statements on the product label. Registered by the EPA, these include bifenthrin, chlorpyrifos, cypermethrin, fenvalerate, permethrin, imidacloprid, and fipronil. B. A treatment of less than the entire structure will be permitted to accommodate the customer's request to allow the treating company to perform the job in a manner prescribed by their professional evaluation and label requirements. C. All treatments must strictly adhere to the procedures outlined in the disclosure statement required in 7.174 of this title relating to subterranean termite, drywood termite, and related wood-destroying insect treatment disclosure documents. A deviation will be permitted when unexpected circumstances occur necessitating a change in the treatment, and the applicator responsible for the treatment provides the customer with a written addendum to the contract or disclosure documents at the completion of the treatment. D. Upon completion of a termite treatment or installation of a baiting system, the company responsible for providing the treatment must leave a durable sticker of not less than 1 inch by 2 inches in size on the wall adjacent to the water heater, electric breaker box, or beneath the kitchen sink, giving the name, address, and telephone number of the business licensee, name and license number of the applicator, product used, the date of the treatment or installation of the baiting system, and a statement that the notice should not be removed. E. The business license holder or certified non-commercial applicator must keep and maintain a correct and accurate copy of the termite treatment disclosure documents for a period of 2 years. 7.173 Subterranean Termite Pre-Construction Treatments. Pre-treatments. Gallons of concentrate. The number of gallons of a manufacturer's concentrate which is mixed with a water carrier. An example of a concentrate Termidor SC with a 9.1% active ingredient. Gallons of spray. The result of mixing the concentrate with a diluent, usually water. This is the finished product that is applied to the site. Percent active ingredient desired. The amount of active ingredient that is contained in the finished spray. Normally, the label will state what percent this should be. It is always expressed as a whole number when used in the formula above. Example, 1% is 1, not 0.01. 5% is 0.5, not 0.005. Termite pre-treat formulas. Chemical barriers. Chemical barriers, which are used to control subterranean termites, are usually of two types, horizontal and vertical. Horizontal area. To establish a horizontal barrier, gallons of spray are applied to square feet. The product label will state the rate of application, such as 1 gallon per 10 square feet or 1 1/2 gallons per 10 square feet. To determine the square footage of a structure, the length, L, of the structure is multiplied by the width, W, of the structure. Length times width equals square feet. For example, if a home is 170 feet long and 60 feet wide, the square footage encompassed by the home would be 170 feet, or the length, times 60 feet, which is the width, equaling out to 10,200 square feet. To determine the gallons of spray for the home mentioned, first read the label. In this case, the label states to apply the spray at a rate of 1 1/2 gallons per 10 square feet. Then divide the square footage of the home, 10,200 square feet, by the square footage given on the label, 10 square feet, and multiply by the gallons given on the label, 1 1/2 gallons. The problem would then look like this: 10,200 square feet divided by 10 square feet, then times 1 1/2 gallons equals gallons of spray. When we do that, the 10,200 square feet divided by 10 comes out to 1,020 times 1 1/2 gallons, or 1.5, equaling gallons of spray, or 1,530 gallons of spray. It therefore takes 1,530 gallons of spray to establish a horizontal barrier for a home that is 170 feet long and 60 feet wide. Vertical. To establish a vertical barrier, the gallons of spray are applied to linear feet. To determine the linear feet of a foundation, add all sides together. If both sides of the foundation are to be treated, add all the sides together and multiply by 2. This will give the total linear feet to be treated both inside and outside the foundation wall. For example, if a foundation is 150 feet long and 80 feet wide, then the diagram of the structure would look like this. The linear feet to be treated would then be 150 plus 80 plus 150 plus 80, equaling total linear feet one side. 460 linear feet in this scenario would then be times by 2 to get your total linear feet. This is because, again, we have 150 feet at the top of the structure, 150 feet at the bottom, 80 feet on the left side, 80 feet on the right side. Then we have to times that by 2 because we have the inside and the outside linear footage of the structure. This is why we come up with 920 total linear feet to be treated, because the inside and the outside of the structure have to be treated. To determine the gallons of solution for the structure mentioned in this example, first, read the label for the application rate. In this case, the label states to apply solution at a rate of 4 gallons per 10 lineal feet. Then, divide the linear footage of the structure, 920, by the gallons on the label, 4 gallons. The problem would look like this: 920 divided by 10 times 4 gallons equaling gallons of spray solution. So in this case, it'll be 92 times 4 gallons equaling gallons of spray solution, for a total of 368 gallons of spray solution. It therefore takes 368 gallons of spray to establish a vertical barrier for a structure that is 150 feet long and 80 feet wide. Termite pre-treat formulas. For example, if the support posts on a pier and beam structure are 1 foot long per side and there are 24 posts, then there would be 96 linear feet to be treated. 4 sides of 1 post times 1 foot equals 4 feet, times 24 posts equals 96 feet. Some foundations are hollow block. In this type of structure, the stem wall is treated on both sides and the hollow block is treated inside. Sections B through F of this section do not apply to baits or baiting systems, and subsections C through D of this section do not apply to wood-applied termiticide products. B. All pesticides used for pre-construction termite treatments must be registered with the EPA and the department. All pesticide liquid applications must be made by using the application rates and methods and by following the precautionary statements on the labeling of the pesticide being used. C. For a full treatment, the entire structure must be treated to provide a continuous horizontal and vertical pesticide barrier. The final treatment shall be performed within 30 days of notification of completion of landscaping or 1 year from the date of completion of construction, whichever comes first. However, when construction has proceeded to the point that all areas cannot be treated before the company providing the treatment is called to perform the application, a partial treatment is permitted if the owner of the structure or the person in charge of the construction and the licensee for the pest control company sign a statement attesting to construction conditions and attach it to the contract with an amended diagram or blueprint or building plat showing the exact areas to be treated, and send copies to the owner of the property within 7 days of application. A copy of the disclosure with an amended diagram or blueprint or building plat showing the exact areas to be treated must be made available to the department upon request. A partial treatment will also be permitted if allowed by label directions and if the licensee proposing the treatment issues a termite treatment disclosure document prior to the treatment. D. In order to comply with subsection C of this section, it will be necessary to return to the pretreatment site after the slab has been poured and/or piers and support beams have been placed to complete the treatment for the vertical barrier. E. A primary treatment of the wood framing, such as a borate treatment, must follow full label application instructions and must be performed with a termiticide that has specific label instructions to be used as a primary treatment to offer protection for the prevention of subterranean termites in new construction. This treatment may be used in lieu of a full, partial, or bait treatment and must include application instructions to expose surfaces of wood framing with exterior sheathing in place, but before any walls are enclosed to a height of not less than 2 feet above a contact with a slab foundation or a 2-foot horizontal and vertical treatment of wood above contact with a concrete crawl space or basement foundation. Label instructions must provide application instructions for the prevention of subterranean termite intrusion and tubing onto non-cellulose areas around bath traps, plumbing penetrations, and concrete foundation areas. F. Notice of all pre-construction treatments with contracts requiring treatment of a structure other than a single-family dwelling must be submitted between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. using the department's designated notification system at least 4 and no more than 24 hours prior to a termiticide application. The licensee must provide address and site location, type of treatment, partial or full, date and time of treatment, approximate and appropriate unit of measurement used under contract, and the name, license number, and physical address of the pest control business. If the treatment is canceled, notice of cancellation must be sent using the department's designated notification system within 1 hour of the time the pest control business learns of the cancellation. G. For all commercial pre-construction treatments other than baits, baiting systems, wood-applied termiticide products or physical barriers, the licensee must maintain records of the appropriate unit of measurements treated per application site, amount of termiticide used per application site, rate at which termiticide is mixed for each application site, number of application tanks which were in use for the treatment, the capacity, in gallons, of each application tank, and the start and stop time for the treatment. The business license holder, or in the case of certified non-commercial applicator, the applicator must keep and maintain a correct and accurate copy of the pre-construction treatment and disclosure records for a period of 2 years. A baiting system may be used in lieu of a pre-construction treatment if installed within 30 days of notification of completion of landscaping. All termite baiting system applications must be made using the methods and following the precautionary statements on the product label. If a physical barrier is used, the appropriate unit of measurement of the physical barrier must be recorded and a diagram describing the installation must be provided. 7.174 Wood Destroying Insect Treatment Disclosure Documents. Disclosure documents A. As part of each written estimate submitted for a subterranean termite, drywood termite, powder post beetle, wood boring beetle, or related wood-destroying insect, excluding carpenter ants, treatment to a customer. The pest control business proposing the treatment must present the prospective customer or designee with disclosure documents. Verbal estimates may be provided to customers to advise of a general range of treatment cost, but a written estimate must be provided before beginning a treatment. Written estimates for termite and related wood-destroying insect treatments and treatment disclosure documents shall only be made by licensed technicians or certified applicators licensed in the termite category. B. Each subterranean termite, drywood termite, powder post beetle, wood boring beetle, or related wood-destroying insect, excluding carpenter ants, treatment disclosure document must include, but is not limited to: 1. The business name, address, phone number, TPCL number, and the date the written estimate was submitted. 2. The address or physical location of the structure to be treated. 3. A diagram or blueprint or building plat and description of the structure or structures to be treated, including the following: A. Numerical perimeter measurements of the entire structure as accurately as practical. B. Areas of active or previous termite activity. C. Areas to be treated. D. Known wood-destroying insect activity. E. Areas of conditions conducive to infestation by wood-destroying insects. And F. Construction details and other information about construction relevant to the treatment proposal. 4. A label for any pesticide recommended or used. If a physical barrier is used, the appropriate unit of measurement of the physical barrier must be recorded, and a diagram describing the installation must be provided. 5. The complete details of the warranty provided, if any. 6. The signature of approval on the disclosure documents by a certified applicator or licensed technician in the termite category employed by the company making the proposal. 7. The concentration of termiticide used or minimum number of bait stations to be installed. 8. For subterranean termite post-construction treatments, the following statements and definitions in at least 8-point type. A. A termite treatment may be a partial treatment or spot treatment using termiticide, approved physical barriers, or a baiting system. These types of treatments are defined as follows. I. Partial treatments. This technique allows a wide variety of treatment strategies, but is more involved than a spot treatment. See definition below. Example, treatment of some or all of the perimeter, bat traps, expansion joints, stress cracks, portions of framing, walls, and bait locations. A termite treatment may be a partial treatment or spot treatment using termiticide, approved physical barriers, or a baiting system. These types of treatments are defined as follows. 2. Spot treatments. Any treatment which concerns a limited, defined area, less than 10 linear or square feet, that is intended to protect a specific location or spot. Often, there are adjacent areas that are susceptible to termite infestation which are not treated. A termite treatment may be a partial treatment or spot treatment using termiticide, approved physical barriers, or a baiting system. These types of treatments are defined as follows. 3. Baiting systems. This type of treatment may include interior and/or perimeter placement of monitoring or baiting systems, along with routine inspection intervals. The baiting technique may include one or more locations as prescribed by the product label and instructions. A termite treatment may be a partial treatment or spot treatment using termiticide, approved physical barriers, or a baiting system. These types of treatments are defined as follows. 4. Barriers. If a physical barrier is used, the square footage of the physical barrier must be recorded and a diagram describing the installation will be provided. B. The types of treatment defined may apply to construction types as follows. 1. Pier and beam. Treatment of the outer perimeter, including porches, patios, and treatment of the attached garage. In the crawl space, treatment would include any soil to structure contacts, piers, and/or pipes. B. The types of treatment defined may apply to construction types as follows. 2. Slab construction. Treatment of the perimeter and all known slab penetrations, as well as any known expansion joints or stress cracks. 9. For all termite treatments, the following statement in at least 8-point type. For all treatments, there will be a diagram showing exactly what will be treated. Treatment specifications and warranties for those treatments may vary widely. Review the pesticide label provided to you for minimum treatment specification. If you have any questions, contact the Pest Control Company or the Texas Department of Agriculture, P.O. Box 12847, Austin, Texas 78711-2847, phone number 866-918-4481. 10. For any pre-construction treatment, the proper pre-construction subterranean termite treatments, a guide for builders and consumers guide, must be provided to the contractor or purchaser of the pre-treatment service prior to the beginning of the treatment. The text and format of the termite pre-treatment disclosure document is made available on the Structural Pest Control Service website at www.texasagriculture.gov/SPCS or by contacting the Texas Department of Agriculture at the address provided in paragraph 9 of this subsection. Proper pre-construction subterranean termite treatments, a guide for builders and commercial customers. Commissioner Sid Miller, Texas Department of Agriculture, Structural Pest Control Service. 1. Definitions. The Texas Department of Agriculture licenses pest control operators and regulates the application of pesticides for the prevention or control of subterranean termites. Because of the importance of treatments made to buildings under construction, commonly called pre-treats, this publication has been prepared for builders and consumers who hire pest control operators for these preventative termite treatments. Pre-construction treatments may include methods such as soil treatments, baiting systems, treatment of wooden structural elements, and approved physical barriers. A pre-construction liquid soil termiticide treatment may be a full treatment or a partial treatment defined in the following manner. A. Full treatment. Effective pre-construction treatment for subterranean termite prevention requires the establishment of complete vertical and horizontal chemical barriers or approved physical barriers between wood and the structure and the termite colonies in the soil. For horizontal chemical barriers, application shall be made using a low-pressure spray after grading is completed and prior to the pouring of the slab or footing to provide thorough and continuous coverage of the area being treated. For vertical chemical barriers, establish vertical barriers in areas such as around the base of foundations, plumbing lines, backfilled soil against foundation walls, and other areas, which may warrant more than just a horizontal barrier. B. Partial treatment. A partial treatment is anything less than a full treatment, as described above. A partial treatment only protects the areas treated from wood-destroying insects. The areas chemically treated must be treated using at least the minimum labeled rate. Physical barriers and devices installed at slab penetrations are considered partial treatments. Baits shall be disclosed as bait treatments. C. Pre-construction treatment with wood framing. A pre-construction treatment of all or part of the wood framing as described in SPCS Rule 7.173. E. Shall be disclosed as a wood treatment. Label instructions for wood framing treatments allow a wide variety of treatment strategies. More extensive treatments may provide greater protection than treatments designed to protect a specific area or location. 2. Application rates. Labels can and do differ. Read and follow label directions. Builders and consumers should ask for a copy of the label. 1. Unless otherwise directed by the label, fill material to be covered by a slab is treated at a rate of 1 gallon per 10 square feet soil fill. For coarse fill, use 1.5 gallons per 10 square feet or as specified on the product label. 2. Unless otherwise directed by the label, soil backfill areas next to walls, piers, pipes, and under critical areas like slab expansion joints are treated with 4 gallons per 10 linear feet per foot of depth. This includes fill areas inside chimneys and earth-filled porches. 3. Hollow masonry units receive 2 gallons per 10 linear feet. Though a concrete block wall may have multiple chambers, 2 or 3 whole blocks, it is counted as one hollow void when calculating the amount of termiticide needed for treatment. Review specific label requirements for proper mix rates and application procedures. 4. Wood-applied termiticide treatments are to be applied according to label directions. 3. Contacting the Texas Department of Agriculture. TDA does not regulate pricing of treatments. However, we are interested in situations where the price is only a fraction of the cost of materials needed to do the job correctly. Remember, comparing the bid price to the size of the structure and the cost of termiticide does not include costs such as insurance, travel, labor, and other costs associated with overhead. Further, a contractor may have civil or criminal liability if they conspire to violate SPCS regulations. Termiticide labels have specific directions about the product's use. Pest control companies must follow these directions and TDA/SPCS rules, including 7.173 B and C. All pesticide applications must be made by using the application rate and methods and by following the precautionary statements on the labeling of the pesticide being used. Treatments using less than label recommended concentrations at higher volume applications are prohibited for pre-construction treatments. C. For a full treatment, the entire structure shall be treated to provide a continuous horizontal and vertical barrier as described on the pesticide label, including the posting of a treatment sticker and the final treatment to be performed within 30 days of notification of completion of landscaping or 1 year from the date of completion of construction, whichever comes first. B. Except when construction has proceeded to the point that all areas cannot be treated before the company providing treatment is called to perform the application, a partial treatment will be permitted if the owner of the structure or the person in charge of the construction and the certified applicator for the pest control company sign a statement attesting to the conditions and attach it to the contract with an amended graph showing the exact areas treated. Termiticides must be used at the prescribed rate to protect the structure from termites and to comply with federal and state regulations. TDA will inspect specific treatments in response to consumer complaints or information that indicates a possible improper treatment. The pest control company is required to inform the structural pest control service 4 to 24 hours prior to performing the treatment. The prior treatment notification requirement is specific to commercial pre-construction and is not required for single-family dwellings. TDA will also inspect treatments during compliance inspections of pest control company operations and will randomly make inspections of job sites where treatments are in progress. Such on-site inspections may involve collecting samples of the tank mix and soil samples of treatment sites following application. Questions about termite treatment procedures should be directed to the TDA office. 4. Treatment requirements. For existing or post-construction treatments, a variety of treatments may be used that include chemical, approved TDA physical barriers, methods and devices, and baiting systems. TDA will inspect some treatments in progress to ensure that proper procedures are being used. Keep in mind that inspection by TDA is not required for the treatment or construction to proceed. Inspections at pre-treatment sites, both residential and commercial, will be made on a case-by-case basis. It is the philosophy of this agency to combine firm but fair enforcement actions with an educational approach to obtain regulatory compliance. Treatment is A. Full, or B. Partial, or C. Wood, or D. Bait, or E. Barrier, or F. Commercial, or G. Single family. I have received a copy of the guide for builders and commercial customers, signature of customer or contractor and date. This is what the customer would have to sign when a termite pretreatment is performed. 11. For drywood termite, powder post beetle, wood boring beetle, and other related wood-destroying insect treatments, the following statements and definitions in at least 8-point type. A drywood termite, powder post beetle, wood boring beetle, or other related wood-destroying insect treatment may be a full treatment or spot treatment. These types of treatments are defined as follows. A. Full treatment. A treatment to control 100% of the insect infestation by tarpaulin fumigation or appropriate sealing method. A full treatment by fumigation is designed to eliminate every insect colony. It should include the infested structure and all attached structures. Or B. Spot treatment. Any treatment less than a full treatment by tarpaulin fumigation. This treatment should be considered only when a drywood termite, powder post beetle, wood boring beetle, or related insect infestation has a limited and defined area of infestation. Adjacent areas susceptible to drywood termite, powder post beetle, wood boring beetle, or related insect infestations are not treated. Because of the nature of wood-destroying insects, these untreated areas may continue to harbor drywood termites, powder post beetle, wood boring beetle, and related insects throughout the structure without detection. 12. A consumer information sheet described in 7.147 of this title relating to consumer information sheet, and 13. The jurisdiction statement, licensed and regulated by Texas Department of Agriculture, P.O. Box 12847, Austin, Texas 78711-2847, phone 866-918-4481, fax 888-232-2567. C. For a retreatment of a property for an existing customer, the pest control business must provide the following before conducting the retreatment. 1. The label of the pesticide to be used. 2. A diagram or updated diagram of the structure showing areas to be treated. And 3. A consumer information sheet described in 7.147 of this title. D. The business license holder, or in the case of the certified non-commercial applicator, the applicator must keep and maintain correct and accurate copies of the disclosure documents for a period of 2 years. A. For an indoor treatment at a private residence that is not a rental property, the certified applicator or technician must make the consumer information sheet available to the owner of the residence. B. For an indoor treatment at a residential rental property with less than 5 rental units, the certified applicator or technician must make the consumer information sheet available to each resident upon request at the time of each treatment. C. For an indoor treatment at a residential property with 5 or more rental units, the certified applicator or technician must make the consumer information sheet available to the owner or manager of the complex. The certified applicator or technician must also supply the owner or manager with a pest control sign. The owner or manager or an employee or agent of the owner or manager, other than the certified applicator or technician, must notify residents who live in direct or adjacent areas of the treatment by the following. 1. Posting the sign in an area of common access to residents at least 48 hours before each planned treatment. Or 2. Distributing application information consistent with 7.146 of this title relating to pest control sign at least 48 hours before each planned treatment by leaving the sign on the front door of each unit or in a conspicuous place inside each unit. A. For an indoor treatment at a workplace, the certified applicator or technician must make the consumer information sheet available and supply a pest control sign to the employer or the building manager. The employer or the building manager or an employee or agent of the owner or manager, other than the certified applicator or technician, must notify individuals at the workplace of the date of the planned treatment by the following. 1. Posting the sign in an area of common access that the employees are most likely to see at least 48 hours before each planned treatment. And 2. Making available the consumer information sheet to any individual working in the building on request of the individual if the request is made during normal business hours. E. For an indoor treatment at a building that is a hospital, nursing home, hotel, motel, lodge, warehouse, food processing establishment, school or educational institution, or a daycare center, the certified applicator or technician must make available the consumer information sheet and a pest control sign to the chief administrator, IPM coordinator, or building manager. The chief administrator, IPM coordinator, or building manager must notify the individuals who work or reside in the building of the treatment by the following. 1. Posting the sign in an area of common access that the individuals are likely to check at least 48 hours before each planned treatment. And 2. Making available the consumer information sheet to any individual working or residing in the building on the request of the individual. A. The department's consumer information sheet must be used. Copies of the consumer information sheet are available from the department in English and Spanish on the Structural Pest Control Service website at texasagriculture.gov/SPCS or by contacting the Texas Department of Agriculture, P.O. Box 12847, Austin, Texas 78711-2847 or 866-918-4481. The department's consumer information sheet may be copied and used in accordance with this section. A. The pre-notification requirements of 7.146 through 7.148 of this title are waived if the customer and certified applicator sign a statement attesting to the fact that an emergency exists which requires immediate treatment. If such an emergency exists, the consumer information sheet must be made available by the licensee. The statement must be kept on file with the pest control use records. If the customer is not available to sign a statement at the time of treatment, that shall be recorded in the use records along with the customer's name and telephone number. An emergency is defined as an imminent hazard to health. An emergency treatment is limited to the localized area of the emergency. 7.175 Official Wood Destroying Insect Report Inspection Procedures. A. Inspections for the purpose of issuing a WDIR must be conducted in a manner consistent with the procedures described in this section by a licensed certified applicator or technician in the termite category. The printed name and registration number or license number of any employees receiving training that are present for the inspection must be listed on the report. The purpose of the inspection is to provide a WDIR regarding the absence or presence of wood-destroying insects and conditions conducive to wood-destroying insect infestation. The inspection should provide the basis for recommendations for preventive or remedial actions, if necessary, to minimize economic losses. Only for purposes of a real estate transaction inspection report, as described in 7.176 of this title, relating to real estate transaction inspection reports, there must be visible evidence of active infestation in the structure or visible evidence of a previous infestation in the structure with no evidence of prior treatment to recommend a corrective treatment. The inspection must be conducted so as to ensure examination of all visible, accessible areas in or on a structure in accordance with accepted procedures. While such an examination may reveal wood-destroying insects, there are instances when concealed infestations and/or damage may not be discovered. Examinations of inaccessible or obstructed areas are not required. B. Inaccessible or obstructed areas recognized. Inaccessible or obstructed areas recognized by the department include, but are not limited to: 1. Inaccessible attics or portion thereof. 2. The interior of hollow walls, spaces between a floor or porch deck and the ceiling or soffit below. 3. Such structural segments as porte-cocheres, enclosed bay windows, buttresses, and similar areas to which there is no access without defacing or tearing out lumber, masonry, or finished work. B. Inaccessible or obstructed areas recognized by the department include, but are not limited to: 4. Areas behind or beneath stoves, refrigerators, furniture, built-in cabinets, insulation, floor coverings, and 5. Areas where storage conditions or locks make the inspection impracticable. C. The inspector must describe the structures inspected and include the following: 1. The address or location. 2. A diagram showing a approximate numerical perimeter measurements of the structure as accurately as practical. Does not have to be to scale. The inspector must describe the structures inspected and include the following: B. Construction details needed for clarity of the report. C. Areas of current wood-destroying insect activity. D. Areas of previous wood-destroying insect activity. And E. Areas of conditions conducive to infestation by wood-destroying insects. The inspector must describe the structures inspected and include the following. 3. Inaccessible or obstructed areas, including but not limited to the areas listed in subsection B of this section. D. The inspection must include but is not limited to the following areas if accessible and unobstructed. 1. Plumbing, which includes A. Bathroom, B. Kitchen, C. Laundry, or D. Other specified area, i.e. hot tub, etc. D. The inspection must include but is not limited to the following areas if accessible and unobstructed. 2. Window and door frames and sills. 3. Baseboards, flooring, walls, and ceilings. 4. Entrance steps and porches. 5. Exterior of slab or wall foundation. D. The inspection must include, but is not limited to, the following areas, if accessible and unobstructed. 6. Crawl spaces, which include A. Support piers, including stiff legs. B. Floor joist. C. Subfloors. D. Sill plates. And E. Foundation wall. D. The inspection must include, but is not limited to, the following areas if accessible and unobstructed. 7. Fireplace. And 8. Weep holes. D. The inspection must include, but is not limited to, the following areas if accessible and unobstructed. E. Visible evidence of the following conditions must be reported. 1. Wood-destroying insects or signs of current active infestation. 2. Termite tubes or frass. 3. Exit holes or frass from other wood-destroying insects. 4. Evidence of previous treatment or infestation. D. The inspection must include, but is not limited to, the following areas if accessible and unobstructed. 5. Conditions conducive to wood-destroying insect infestation, including, but not limited to, A. A structure with wood-to-ground contact. B. Form boards left in place. C. Excessive moisture. D. Wood debris under or around the structure. E. Footing too low or soil line too high. F. Insufficient clearance in crawl space. G. Expansion joints or cracks in slab. H. Decks. Or 6. Infestation of other wood-destroying insects. 7.176 Real Estate Transaction Inspection Reports. A. All inspection reports issued regarding the visible presence or absence of termites or other wood-destroying insects and conditions conducive to infestation of wood-destroying insects in connection with a real estate transaction must be made on a form prescribed by the department. Forms must be maintained in the inspection file. B. Lending providers such as the Veterans Administration may require the inspection results on another form. That form is supplemental to the required department form and must be maintained in the inspection file. The next slide shows the NPMA 33 form. As you're seeing on this slide, this is the NPMA 33 Wood-Destroying Insect Inspection Report. This is something you're going to want to look at a later time and study for your reference and knowledge. C. The department report form includes a space to report conditions consistent with 7.175 of this title relating to the official wood-destroying insect report inspection procedures, which is available at texasagriculture.gov/SPCS/ or by contacting the Texas Department of Agriculture, P.O. Box 12847, Austin, Texas 78711-2847, 866-918-4481. D. For each inspection, copies of the completed form must be prepared for 1. The person who ordered the inspection, and 2. Business files of the business license holder issuing the report. E. The licensee issuing the report must retain records of inspection reports for a minimum of 2 years. 7.177 Posting Notice of Inspection. A. Upon completion of an inspection for the purposes of completing a WDIR, the inspector must post a durable sticker on the wall adjacent to the water heater, electrical breaker box, or beneath the kitchen sink, giving the name and license number of the licensee, the date of the inspection, and a statement that the sticker should not be removed. B. It is a violation of this section for any licensee to remove or deface a posted inspection sticker. 7.178 Structural Fumigation Requirements. A. Fumigation of structures to control wood-destroying insects or other pests shall be performed only under the direct on-site supervision of a certified applicator licensed in the category of structural fumigation. Direct on-site supervision means that the certified applicator exercising such supervision must be present at the site of the fumigation during the introduction of the fumigant, any re-entry prior to aeration, during the initial aeration process, and when the structure is released for occupancy. B. All motor vehicles used by a licensee or licensee's employees in conducting structural fumigation services, to include the transportation of tarps and fumigants, shall display the TPCL number of the business. The transportation of all fumigants shall be done consistent with label directions. A licensee licensed in the structural fumigation category may subcontract the performance of a structural fumigation to another licensee licensed in the structural fumigation category. The primary contractor shall notify the customer that the performance of the structural fumigation service will be performed by another properly licensed business other than the primary contractor. This written notification shall be a part of the disclosure documents as a separate statement itself or attached to the disclosure documents and must be signed and dated by the customer. Both the primary contractor and the subcontractor shall maintain a copy of the disclosure documents issued to and signed and dated by the customer, and the report as described in subsection 1 of this section for a period of 2 years. D. Structural fumigation shall be performed in compliance with all label requirements applicable to state and federal laws and regulations. 1. During a fumigation, whenever the presence of 2 persons trained in the use of the fumigant is required by the fumigant label, at least one of these persons must be the certified applicator providing direct on-site supervision as described in subsection A of this section, and the second person must be trained in the necessary safety precautions. D. Structural fumigation shall be performed in compliance with all label requirements applicable to state and federal laws and regulations. 2. 2 trained persons shall be present at each fumigation site during the introduction of the fumigant, any re-entry prior to aeration, during the initial aeration process, and, if the label requires, until the active aeration period, with all operable doors and windows open, is completed, and the structure is secured for the remaining aeration period. D. Structural fumigation shall be performed in compliance with all label requirements applicable to state and federal laws and regulations. 3. During these periods of time, 2 operational self-contained breathing apparatuses, also known as SCBA, must be present at the fumigation site. Fumigators must have in their possession any keys necessary to unlock secondary locking devices and/or an access device that would allow for immediate access to the structure the entire time the structure is under fumigation. 4. A trained person in structural fumigation may be a registered apprentice, licensed technician, or certified applicator in the structural fumigation category, having been trained in the proper use of a SCBA and clearing devices. E. Prior to the release of the fumigant, warning signs shall be posted in plainly visible locations on or in the immediate vicinity of all entrances to the structure under fumigation and shall not be removed until the premises is determined safe for occupancy. Ventilation shall be conducted with due regard for public safety. F. Local fire, police, or emergency authorities shall be notified of the structural fumigation prior to introduction of the fumigant. Notification shall be made in writing, by email, or by telephone as long as a record is made of the name of the person that was informed and the date and time. The same agency shall be informed that the structure is released for occupancy. G. The space to be fumigated shall be vacated by all occupants prior to the commencement of fumigation. The space to be fumigated shall be sealed in such manner to ensure that the concentration of the fumigant released is retained in compliance with the manufacturer's recommendations. Fumigation tarps with puncture holes, tears, rips, or splitting seams must be taped or repaired in such a manner to ensure that the concentration of the fumigant released is retained in compliance with the manufacturer's recommendations. H. Warning signs shall be printed in red on white backgrounds and shall contain the following statement in letters not less than 2 inches in height. Danger, fumigation. Signs must also depict a skull and crossbones not less than 1 inch in height, the name of the fumigant, the date and time fumigant was introduced, and the name, license number, and telephone number where the certified applicator performing the fumigation may be reached 24 hours a day. I. On any structure that has been fumigated, the certified applicator responsible for the fumigation shall, immediately upon completion, post a durable sticker on the wall adjacent to the electric breaker box, water heater, or beneath the kitchen sink. This must be a durable sticker not less than 1 inch by 2 inches in size. It must have the name and license number of the certified applicator, date of fumigation, fumigant used, and the purpose for which it was fumigated or the target pest. J. A certified applicator performing the fumigation shall use adequate warning agents with all fumigants that lack such properties. When conditions involving abnormal hazards exist, the person exercising direct on-site supervision shall take such safety precautions in addition to those prescribed to protect the public health and safety. The certified applicator responsible for the fumigation shall visibly inspect the structures to assure vacancy prior to introduction of fumigant. K. The certified applicator responsible for the fumigation shall also post a person or persons to guard the location whenever a licensed applicator is not present from the time the fumigant is introduced until the label concentration for aeration is reached. The person posted at the location shall deter entry into the structure by routinely inspecting the structure under fumigation at least once each hour. The person posted at the location shall remain alert and on duty as directed by the certified applicator. The certified applicator responsible for the fumigation shall secure all entrances to the structure in such a manner as to prevent entry by anyone other than the certified applicator responsible for the fumigation. The structure must remain secured by secondary locking devices until the structure is released for occupancy. I, for the purpose of maintaining proper safety, establishing responsibility in handling the fumigants, and to ensure a successful fumigation, the business performing the structural fumigation shall compile and retain a report for each fumigation job and/or treatment for a period of at least 2 years. The certified applicator responsible for the fumigation must have a copy of the report at the time of the fumigation. The report for each fumigation job or treatment must contain the following information to be recorded as the fumigation progresses. 1. Name, address, and business license number of the pest control business. 2. Name and address of property and owner. 3. Measured cubic feet fumigated. 4. Target pest or pest controlled. 5. Fumigant or fumigants used, EPA registration number and amount. 6. Name of warning agent and amount used. 7. Temperature and wind conditions. 8. Time gas introduced and aerated, date and hour. 9. Name and license number of the certified applicator responsible for the fumigation and providing direct on-site supervision. 10. List of any extraordinary safety precautions taken. 11. Date and time released for occupancy, signed by the certified applicator. 12. The dates and times local fire, police, or emergency authorities were notified. 13. The identification of clearing devices used. And 14. Proof that the department was notified of the structural fumigation with the date and time of the notification. M. Fumigations for the purpose of controlling wood-destroying insects are subject to the provisions of 7.174 of this title relating to subterranean termite, dry wood termite, and related wood-destroying insect treatment disclosure documents. N. Every licensee engaged in application of a fumigant is required to use an approved and calibrated clearance device consistent with the fumigant label. 1. The approved and calibrated clearance device must be used consistently with the label. 2. An independent and qualified facility or person must perform calibration of the clearance device not less than annually and anytime it is suspected to be inaccurate. Calibration must be in compliance with the manufacturer's requirements. 3. Proof of calibration must be kept on file for a period of 2 years and available for review by the department. The record of proof for each clearing device shall contain the date of calibration and the name of the independent and qualified facility or person who performed the calibration. As you can see here, we're showing a fumigation clearance device. As you can see, it has a date of calibration. O. The certified applicator responsible for the fumigation shall be responsible for the following label requirements for aeration and clearing of the structure that is being fumigated. P. Notice of all fumigations of a structure must be submitted using the department's designated notification system between the hours of 6 a.m. and 9 p.m., at least 4 and no more than 24 hours prior to the structural fumigation application. If the structural fumigation is canceled, notice of the cancellation must be sent using the department's designated notification system within 3 hours of the time the pest control company learns of the cancellation. The licensee must provide 1. Address and site location, 2. Fumigant to be used, 3. Date and time of treatment. For the purposes of this section, the time of treatment is when the business conducting the fumigation is scheduled to arrive at the fumigation site. 4. Measured cubic feet under contract. 5. The name and license number of the business licensee. And 6. The name and license number of the certified applicator responsible for overseeing the fumigation. Q. Before an individual may apply for an initial certified applicator's license in the structural fumigation category, the following experience requirements must be met. 1. A 10 to 40 hour structural fumigation school that has at least 16 hours of hands-on training and has been approved by the department. Or 2. Obtain 40 hours of on-the-job training with at least 16 hours of hands-on training that is approved by the department. Department-approved hands-on training includes the following. A. Inspect structure and identify pest prior to fumigation. B. Prepare disclosure documents pursuant to the provisions of 7.174 of this title. C. Measure structure and calculate volume. D. Calculate dosage of fumigant. E. Notify local fire, police, or emergency authority as appropriate. F. Secure materials left inside structure. Check pilot light and appliances. G. Tarp, place snakes, or otherwise seal structure for fumigation. Department-approved hands-on training includes the following. H. Post the structure and secure entrances to the structure. I. Instruct the person, guard, on duty at the site on responsibilities and safety precautions. J. Set up equipment including splash pan and fans. K. Introduce fumigant and warning agent, if required, to the structure. L. Aerate structure. Department-approved hands-on training includes the following. M. Take down tarps, remove snakes, remove locks, or otherwise remove sealing material. N. Clear the structure. O. Store and or dispose of fumigant containers. P. Prepare the report of fumigation required by subsection I of this section. And Q. Securing the fumigant for transportation consistent with labeled directions. R. Current certified applicators with the structural fumigation category must receive 4 hours of training per year to maintain their structural fumigation certification. The 4 hours of training may be classroom or on-the-job training. Department-approved hands-on training includes the following. 1. Inspect structure and identify pests prior to fumigation. 2. Prepare disclosure documents pursuant to the provisions of 7.174 of this title. 3. Measure structure and calculate volume. 4. Calculate dosage of fumigant. 5. Notify local fire, police, or emergency authority as appropriate. 6. Secure materials left inside structure. Check pilot lights and appliances. 7. Tarp, place snakes, or otherwise seal structure for fumigation. 8. Post the structure and secure entrances to the structure. 9. Instruct the person, guard, on duty at the site on responsibilities and safety precautions. 10. Provide on-site supervision during application. Only one applicator per company may claim provision of on-site supervision. 11. Set up equipment, including splash pan and fans. 12. Introduce fumigant and warning agent, if required, to the structure. 13. Aerate structure. 14. Take down tarps, remove snakes, remove locks, or otherwise remove sealing material. 15. Clear the structure. 16. Provide on-site supervision during aeration and clearing. Only one applicator per company may claim provision of on-site supervision. 17. Store and/or dispose of fumigant containers. 18. Prepare the report of fumigation required by subsection I of this section. And 19. Securing the fumigant for transportation consistent with label directions. S. In addition to the 4 hours of training per year, certified applicators must acquire 1 CEU per year in structural fumigation to maintain the certification following initial testing. T. A verifiable performance training records form will be made available to the department upon request. These performance training records forms shall be kept on a format prescribed by the department in the business file for at least 2 years. The responsible certified applicator for the company that performed the training must certify in the training records of each certified applicator that the certified applicator has completed the required training and has demonstrated competency. This verifiable performance training records form will be made available to the certified applicator or technician upon written request. Check out this slide on extra info. This will help you calculate termiticides. We're going to give you a few moments to review this slide. Extra info, treatment. Always apply chemical from a subrig at 25 psi or less. Trenching is a maximum of 6 inches wide and at a depth of 6 inches. Rotting in soil is spaced every 6 inches. When drilling, holes are spaced at 12-inch intervals or less. You must maintain a continual barrier. When treating in a crawl, after you trench, use the short rod with the straight tip to apply the chemical. When treating the exterior, use the long rod with the straight tip to apply chemical. When treating below a slab, always use the 180-degree tip pointed toward the foundation. When treating next to plumbing under a slab, use the 360-degree tip. When rodding the exterior perimeter of a foundation, use the 90-degree tip pointed toward the foundation. When treating trenches in sub-areas or exterior trenches at the foundation, use the straight tip. Congratulations, you have completed the course. Please proceed to the exam to receive your credit.